Hi, I want to welcome you to this quick webinar, How to Attract and Sell to High-End Clients. My name is Jeff Saxton, and I just want to share my story with you and how I came to understand and be able to attract high-end clients and why that's important. But before all that, I want to let you know who I was. And really, to the person I am today, I've been through many transformations and changes that I'll talk about. But before that, I was the last thing you would think of someone who would be able to attract not only high-end clients, but anyone. I was very fearful. I grew up, just quiet, shy. That was my personality. And I didn't know that I had any gifts, in my younger years, especially junior high even. Really wasn't even until after high school that I even realized a couple of gifts that I could contribute to the world. But so I just was a really fearful, quiet kid, and I didn't have any confidence. And even in my young 20s, I tended to hide in a corner when I was in a big social setting. I just hadn't, it's like the egg hadn't been hatched yet, and that was to come later. But I was happy just being who I was. I did have a big transformation, and that has to do a little bit with my background, because I have a dual background, not only in sales managing, selling to high-end clients, but also I have been in ministry. I've been a minister, and those things are not mutually exclusive. One contributed to the other. But really, I would say that transformation happened for me, first of all, when I learned self-respect and I learned God's confidence. I never seemed to be able to be with the popular kids or get with the pretty girls. Weren't interested in me growing up. And so, that was painful. But then after a while, I didn't care. And I began to really get confident in who I was, who God made me to be. And that helped me obviously do ministry. But it also helped me eventually, I realized it would be a very big help in me attracting high-end clients. And I just stopped worrying. I just really a piece about me, I think, really began to be attractive to other people. Yeah, and that's true of almost anything we do in life. And so today, as I mentioned, I've been a minister for decades, and but in between my ministry positions, I've also found that I was really good at sales. And you see, the thing is, when you're on a number of different church staffs over the years, on average, it takes 12 to 18 months to find your next position, and so you have to earn income for a year to 2 years. And I found sales to be something I was really good at, and it actually, ministry helped. And in fact, I was the opposite of the classic, cheesy used car salesman guy. I found the other way is how I came about it, by being real, by being authentic, by being someone that people could trust. And yet I did have a knack for getting people to make a commitment to something that they know and say they really want. And that really came together for me in a really nice way. So I became a pretty successful sales person, and eventually I became a sales manager because I began to have such success. And as we know, people aren't that excited about the pushy sales techniques anymore, manipulative sales. And today, it's actually... I was ahead of my time, because what is popular today is more of the servant-oriented, service-oriented sales. And these are just some accomplishments that I've had in my life. I recently was a published author. I wrote a book called The New Pharisee, and that's kind of based on my ministry experiences. And then also I'm an Amazon best-selling author. I was a contributing author to a book called Pebbles in the Pond, Volume 2, and my chapter was selected. And in that chapter, I wrote about a transformation that I went through personally years ago, where I used to always see myself as the player and everyone else kind of in the stands cheering me on. And those that were helping me, I kind of looked at them as, I think I was really using them for results. And then while I was meeting with this guy, suddenly I felt like I was watching a football game, and you can see all the people in the stands, and then I was in the middle of the field as a player. And suddenly the field turned 180 degrees, and I found myself on the sidelines, and the guy I was talking to, who was in the stands, is now in the middle of the field. Now he's a player. And I look at myself, and I'm dressed like a coach, and I realized something major just shifted. And it's interesting because I think I was really getting weary and looking for a different way to live and do things, and I just couldn't keep up with the demands and with meeting with everyone that was helping me get those demands done. And suddenly I changed from a player to a coach. And so I wrote that. You can read more about that in the book. But that really relates to almost everything I do. And this is a freebie I'm throwing out now for you coaches, really business owners, entrepreneurs, especially coaches. But often we want our business to change, our practice to change, and we don't realize that for that to happen, you have to change. So businesses don't change until the owners, leaders change. Okay, so you experience the transformation, and then your business will experience that transformation. Pretty cool, huh? And more in this webinar, you'll learn more about how to go through a personal transformation. And then other things I've done in my life, I've done some video and film production. I'm actually a silver and bronze Telly winner, which makes me a kind of a Silver Telly Council judge for a lifetime. So every couple of years I judge Telly Awards, and so that obviously comes in handy doing marketing and teaching and different things like that. Before that, as a sales manager, when I did sales managing, my team always sold at least $1 million every year. And then before that, when I was just selling myself, one of my favorite, I've many favorites. One of them is I sold a premier project over $300,000 to one of the highest of high-end clients in St. Paul, and just was another experience of encouraging me. Hey, I've got some, I have something that connects me, makes me attractive to high-end clients. And this is just some more. These are endorsements people have made for my book, The New Pharisee. Some pretty well-known Christian leaders. And then you see my blog. It's called Authentic. Live authentic, love authentic, lead authentic. Okay, these are just some media accomplishments in television and film. Just real briefly, I was an executive producer. I wrote and directed Heart of the City, which is a full-length feature film, principally shot in Omaha, and it played at the Omaha Film Festival in 2009, and then it played at other theaters, and then also we got into the Great Lakes Film Festival. So that was kind of exciting. Directed the Amazon best-selling Pebbles in the Pond Volume 2 promotional video, and then I just directed some local things in Rochester, Minnesota. One of the exciting things is there was a play that I wrote, concept I came up with called According to Judas, and it's really the story of Easter according to Judas, and so he's the main character, and so we're kind of in his mind, and that one was a big hit. That played a couple different years in a row, and then I decided to rewrite that script for as a film, and entered it in the Kairos Prize in 2014, and at least I was a semi-finalist. Wasn't a finalist, but so that one I'm kind of just shopping around to the market right now. But those are it's just a very small look at some things that I've done, and I am a Silver Telly Award winner for a music video that I directed several years ago, and so now I judge the Telly Awards, and that's kind of a fun thing to do, and to see the improvements in the growth of amazing artistry and professionalism, quality of the things that people are doing now these days. It's pretty amazing. The bar has really stepped up. So that's been good to see. And here you have my partner in crime, my beautiful, wonderful wife Sylvie, and I. We're kind of the dynamic duo. Now, when I was first doing sales, and I started to understand some things, and I did have some sales mentors, and they helped me get a basic, knowledge of how to be a salesman and all of that. But I'm also a very authentic person, real person, honest person, and so I have no desire to be manipulative. And I found that being that kind of a person tended to attract high-end clients. And in my first one of my first jobs where I needed to really get a lot of money coming in to my company, I met this man who was not a millionaire but a billionaire, and in fact he was in the Forbes 500 the year that I looked it up, and he was selling commodities, and he just was a very well-to-do person, and he gave me a 5-minute meeting, and that was a miracle just to get to meet with him. And he did not look at me. He looked down on his table and he just said, "You got 5 minutes." So I think he was annoyed, but in 5 minutes somehow I turned him, and he gave me $50,000 right there. And that was not like over time. That was like in one meeting. And so it is possible to, in a very non-pushy way, in a servant-oriented way, with honesty and truthfulness, it's possible to make a lot of money quick with the high end. Because they cannot be pushed. They can't con a con. They know all the sales tactics. You don't want to try to manipulate a high-end client. It's totally different. It's servant-oriented. And I found I was good at that. And then I was a sales manager, but also doing some sales myself. We were selling a $35,000 product, and I was just kind of going through a list of customers on a very gated community, $1 million plus homes only. And but again, I didn't care, because to me, that person who's on top of the food chain is making millions, and the homeless guy on the street, God loves us all. And that's a revelation you need to have if you're going to be able to sell to high-end clients, because they don't impress me too much. They impress me, but not too much. Okay, and also I not only sold him a job, he offered me a job when I sold him the $35,000 product. I didn't take it, but I just found, wow, what is it about me that's attracting these high-end clients? What's going on here? And I found out how really important that was. I discovered, obviously, I attract them, but what am I doing? Well, first of all, I found out I think like they do. My values, that I'm not inauthentic. I'm a very authentic person. I'm loyal. I want to honor my word. I don't do that because I'm trying to sell anyone on an image of myself. It's just who I have always been. And that's been easy, and that's been hard in my life. It was very hard when I was growing up, because teenagers, they don't reward you for those things the same way. I got beat up by bullies sometimes for being the same person. So, but had I known how valuable those things would be, I wouldn't have been that sad when they were beating me up. And I also found that I treat high-end clients just like normal human beings, and that's all they want to be treated like. They're just a human being. You can't lead somebody if you're afraid of them. You can't lead somebody if you're afraid of them. That's big right there. That'll make someone some big money. So yes, if you're going to truly lead, and really, when you're selling a high-end client, you're serving them, but you're leading them. They want you to lead them, but you're doing it in a service way, if that makes any sense. I guess a lot like our politicians today, say they serve us in office, but we do want a strong leader who serves. Now, the power of authenticity can't be overestimated. And I found that this trait in me, to show empathy, that I got obviously from ministry, but also just because of who I was, paid great dividends for the high-end client world, because it shocks a high-end client for anyone to feel any kind of concern for them. They're all used to everybody wanting something from them. And I found I was not self-focused, like I said, but serving them in whatever they need, and I earned their trust and respect. And in the case of my billionaire mentor, that happened all in a 5-minute meeting. I had 5 minutes to pitch him something. It was probably one of the more memorable moments of my life. And you better believe that gave me confidence walking out of that scenario. Now, why should we attract high-end clients? I mean, the truth is, we should attract anybody. I'm not only interested in high-end. Low-end, someone that's got a little bit of money at the homeless person, the kids in another country that don't have water today. I want to impact everyone. But what's a way that we could make world impact? Well, I think a great way is to actually impact high-end clients because they are the world leaders. To change the world, we have to change leaders. And so why not only get the high-end clients who have money to pay you to help train them, you will then be able to help see them transform. And what an exciting idea. What an exciting concept that we could actually transform someone who's a leader or who has means, and then their choices, their decisions in life will be forever changed because of that. It's an exciting idea. High-end people do have resources, and that's great. That's great for you and your business, but it's also great because as you transform them, they're going to go out and make world impact. And also, we need high-end clients because we can't do it ourselves. So those are, I think, some great reasons for that. Now, people today criticize a lot of folks for something not getting done. But here's what Napoleon said. There are no poor soldiers, only poor generals. In other words, the importance of leadership cannot be understated. So it's so important that I think we help impact these high-end clients. Now, who are they? Who are these people? Let's talk about that for a moment. First of all, there's some things about them that you need to know if you're going to attract them. Number one, they hate pushy salespeople. I mean, who of us loves a pushy salesperson? And usually, as the client is higher and higher in the economic ladder, the less they like pushy sales. Okay, so yes, pushy sales people can get, $7 from somebody, but the higher up the food chain you go, the less this works. And also they've been around. A high-end client tends to have a better phony detector often, and they detect phonies immediately. And if you're faking something, they'll see right through you. But the opposite is true. If you're not being a phony, if you're real, they will detect that in 5 minutes also. And see, really, yes, high-end clients, they've got they want to be served. They might feel they deserve it. Who knows? But still, they should be served. And they will reward quality service. If they see you serving them, they will reward that. So we have some fears, I think, at times that keeps us from feeling like, well, maybe high-end people would not want to do business with me, or maybe I wouldn't attract them. Maybe I'm not impressive enough. Well, like I said, I had no financial things to impress high-end clients at first. I just came with what I could do, but I was afraid that I needed to be rich or wealthy to attract wealthy people, and you don't. Not the right clients. I was afraid of being looked down on at first, maybe, but then after a while, that was no longer a concern of mine, and then it just so happens that that's something that keeps us from wanting to go towards the high end. So this is something you have to get over, of course, before you could actually be successful. And then sometimes we just feel we're too inadequate for whatever reason. So these things are common fears when we try to think about reaching out to high-end clients. But remember, they are people just like you and I. At the end of the day, just like you and I. No different. High-end they have some concerns. They're not just going to go with anyone. They're going to definitely look at some things. Now, if you have an unclear niche, like if you don't know who you're going after, well, that's something that might hinder you from making impact. Or if your mission's unclear, they're going to see that. They're going to wonder, what do they want me to do here? Again, when I met with that billionaire, I had 5 minutes. Not only did I need to know before I even got there what his niche was, because, or my millionaire friend who bought my roofing product, if he didn't have need for a roof, then why am I coming to him? So I had a clear niche. I knew that at that time I was selling some high-end roofing materials, and so there you go. And he had a roof that was really in some need of a repair and replacement. So it was a match. I knew my mission, and I had good marketing, and that's all part of it, because they're going to look at all of those things and see, are you the real deal, and do I need you? Do I need to be talking to you? So really, what the question is, do you know your target market? If you're doing health and wellness, and you're looking to impact, high-end clients, do you know them? Do you know what they need? Do you know your program enough, that you're confident that you can share that with them, and they're going to respond to that? Or if you're a designer, going to high-end clients who need that design work. So really, at this point, it's really not a high-end question. It's just getting any clients or any customers. Do you know your target? If you don't, the result will be people are going to wait and just observe you. They're just going to wait and see how if you get your everything, get your act together, if you get everything built, if you get it all together. And if the longer it takes you to get together, the less they will be interested in you. So you've got to get all your ducks in a row, is what my billionaire friend told me. Now, that may not be a lot of ducks, but it's a few ducks that are really important. And that's what we're going to help you with today. Getting a website, email, Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest page. Yes, these are part of getting your ducks in a row. Especially the first 3 or 4 things there in that sentence. And it's hard enough, but now I need a niche. Yeah, you need to figure out your niche. So we're going to discover your exact niche. We're going to decide your ideal client, and we're going to learn how to deliver authentic service. Okay, so first of all, high-end clients, regardless of the niche, they want to be understood. And so, of course, whatever your niche is, I assume you understand that niche and you understand how to communicate that. But if you understand their pain, they will listen to your solutions. If you truly can convey what their pain is through your marketing and through your other ways to get across your message, if you can connect with that and they believe, wow, this person understands my pain. If you're helping people lose weight and you effectively communicate, here's what it's like to walk into a room and have people, go, oh boy, this person's really, really overweight and I better not sit next to them. Okay, now I grew up overweight, so I understand what that's like, being ignored. I understand what that's like when you're a little bigger than the other people and people are looking at, okay, how's he going to fit in this seat? I've been through that many times. I'm no longer overweight, happy to say. But I grew up that way. So if you were trying to reach me and you could communicate that painful experience in a social setting of being kind of an outcast socially, boy, I'm going to listen to your solutions. Okay, so there are different ways to understand high-end clients. We can go on online forums, for example, and just get to understand them through reading things that they say, things they share. Google searches, of course, you can get an idea of what their scenarios are. Online reports, you can interview them personally, and ask. You can do a survey them. If you have an email list and you're building that, it's a great idea. And just begin to, you got to understand your niche here. You have to understand these ideal clients, and then you can impact them. Beyond wealth, what specifically defines your ideal client? So let's talk about that. Your ideal client. Well, if you can speak to the heart of your clients, they will respond and follow your lead. So what you want to be able to do is understand their pain, now speak to their hearts. And that's not always the easiest thing, but if you can, that's great. High-end clients could be people who suffer. Maybe your niche is panic attacks, and you're going for high-end clients, and you can understand their pain. It really helps if you've been through that. I try to do things that I've been through, so I really understand, and people know that I understand. That's really important. I don't think it's mandatory, but if you haven't been through that yourself, but it probably, as a coach, because coaches, the main thing is a coach is gifted at helping someone achieve what they say they want to achieve. And the coach is there to cheer them on and give them support in doing that and help them be a little bit accountable. But I think it's even ideal if you can actually be somebody that went through that yourself and now you know what it's like. High-end clients can be CEOs, owners. Another thing about, if I can go back again for a second, people who suffer also, see, they may not have a lot of money, but they have a big problem. And the more painful the problem, well, they're willing to pay high-end money to get that pain removed. Lord knows the cost of medical help today is so sky high that a couple $1,000s is nothing. That's not even half of a deductible these days. So if you can help someone in a couple $1,000s a month or whatever you charge, a high-end client, or up to $10,000, some people charge a month or even more. But people will pay those things if you can remove their suffering. The CEOs, owners of the world, yeah, of course, they have money to spare. And of course, those would be in your high-end clients, and anyone with money. And really, anyone who's desperate. Maybe they're not suffering, but they're desperate. Well, guess what? They can be your ideal client as well. Well, what's the heart of high-level clients? They love to support. They have money. They love to help do things. Just like a bridge, they love to be that support to help something along, to get something accomplished. They want to do something with their money. They love to be included. They don't just want you to want their money, but they want to be included, and be part of what's going on. The more you make them feel that way, the more they will stick around. They hate to feel used. One thing you can't do is be somebody that's just going after their money. And if that's where you're at, you won't attract them anyway. But even if you get one or two here or there, they will not recommend you to their friends, and they probably won't continue with you because they feel used. They want to be liked. Wow, what a concept. Yeah, they just want to be liked, just like a human being. And then the last of the three things that I said that we would accomplish today is deliver authentic service. So we want to deliver that. What does it really mean to serve your clients? When we serve others, we take the lead. It tends to be, in a lot of different things in life, people don't follow the person that's loud, that is showy, that runs ahead of everyone else. They follow the people that serve them. And service, really, when it comes down to it, service is leadership. So what are some ways to serve high-end clients? First of all, I think just learning to listen. A lot of salespeople, a lot of even coaches, entrepreneurs, we think that the more I talk, the better chance I have of selling somebody something, and it's exactly the opposite. The more you listen, probably the better chance you have of selling them. First of all, because when you listen, that other person or the client, the potential customer, begins to talk and share with you everything you need to know to close the sale. So one of the reasons is if you do all the talking, you won't know where they're at. And good luck trying to get them to be interested. Okay, so I would say even you should talk 20% of the time. So it's important for that reason, but even more importantly, it's important to listen actively, because when we listen actively, we really tell that person, I really care about you, and that's why I'm listening. And when you can develop that, what is that? That's reciprocity. That's building a connection to them when they feel like they are cared about. That's powerful. But it needs to be real. So listen actively. Secondly, identify with empathy. I grew up, I was a feeler. There's either thinkers in the world or feelers. You've probably heard the quote, life is a comedy to those that think. Life is a tragedy to those that feel. Unfortunately, I was born a feeler, which means things aren't as funny to me that are happening in the world. But the good news is with high-end clients, you'll have the last laugh. Hey, that wasn't even planned. You will have the last laugh because you will care about them, and that's who's going to win the day with a high-end client. Give them the VIP treatment. That is serving by just treating them as a very important person, as the VIP. And you know what? We should treat everyone that way. But certainly that includes high-end clients. And then lastly, lead valiantly. You still need to lead. You still need to direct them, but it's not a strong lead. It's a servant leadership, like we've been saying. Now, learning how to serve, unfortunately, can take a lifetime. And in reality, it kind of does take a lifetime. But some things you can learn pretty quickly. And you'll realize that serving is truly leading. So let's recap. There's 3 ways to attract the high-end client. First of all, once again, getting crystal clear on your niche. You know exactly who you're going for, someone who's the health and wellness, or you're going for the person who's trying to get their business to the next level, or someone who's got the panic attacks they can't get rid of. Whatever your niche is, you know that niche. And then secondly, you understand their pain, because that's how you get to understand the ideal client. Your ideal client, you understand their pain. You know exactly what they're going through. And then lastly, you can give them the VIP service. You learned how to serve them. Okay, so we attract people that we are able to understand and relate to. That's pretty much the way life is, isn't it? And if you can understand and relate to high-end clients, you're going to attract them without even trying. And that's the goal. That this is not something you have to put effort towards. I found with myself, this just happened automatically. I didn't even know why. I didn't even understand it. Naturally, me caring about people is what really attracted them. Ernest Hemingway says, I've learned a great deal from listening carefully. Most people never listen, and it's so true. Listen to people. How about this quote from Oprah Winfrey? Everyone wants to ride with you in the limo, but what you want is someone who will take the bus with you when the limo breaks down. In other words, not just wanting a high-end client's money, but high-end clients want to be cared about. They want to be cared for. And if you do that, you will attract them. So now that you know how to attract high-end clients, what's the next step? What's the next step for you? Might be a big step, might be a tiny little step. You might have to scale a 500-foot cliff. I don't know where you're at in your process, but some of these things you can do right now. And it shouldn't take very long until you begin to be a person who can listen and who can serve and who can understand the other person's point of view. And you can lead, but you can lead in a service way, not a pushy way. And you can attract people, not manipulate them. That's going to really make the difference. And then you will no longer fear, you'll have faith. And that's really what it's time for today. It's time for faith. It's time for doing, not doubting. You can doubt, oh, this won't work, I don't think how long are you going to keep doing that? It's time to take action. It's time to serve and not sell. It's time to put other people's interests before yours, or at least be someone that is good at expressing that, showing that. And if you can do that, you're going to have success at attracting high-end clients. So my next question to you is, are you ready to take the next step? Are you ready? So you have 2 choices as I see them. If you're an artist, director, producer, small business owner, coach, or any kind of entrepreneur, you can either continue to struggle, never getting the income and leverage that you deeply desire, making the connections that you really want, or you can finally break through and start attracting clients and decision makers that you deeply want. What I'd like you to do, encourage you to do, is just to sign up below for a free strategy session with me, and let's talk about this together. And there's a couple of really exciting programs that I think may just be what you need to get you to the next level. So I encourage you to go ahead and do that. You can also just go to jeffsaxton.youcanbook.me and you can schedule that in yourself. Just find a time that fits for you, and I'll look forward to your phone call and just coming up with some solutions for you. All right, well, I hope you have a great week, and The best of success to you. Thanks.